Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving deep into the really dramatic start of the 2025 Stanley Cup Final. Game 1 just happened, and wow, it definitely delivered some immediate storylines.
It absolutely did. You know, this is that rematch, Florida Panthers, Edmonton Oilers. Last year was intense. And Game 1 this year, well, it gave us plenty to analyze right out of the gate. What's great is the sources we have, they're not just like the box score. We've got insights into strategy, individual stuff, even the emotional side.
Yeah, we got a good mix. Official recaps from FloridaPanthers.com, deep dives from The Athletic, USA Today, ESPN, plus predictions, analysis from NHL.com, CBS Sports, covers. So a real range of perspectives here.
Exactly. And our mission, really, for you listening, is to piece together those key moments, understand the stats and the human side from all these angles, and maybe figure out what Game 1 actually tells us about how this whole series might play out for you watching at home.
All right, so let's set that scene for Game 1. Second straight year, these two meet in the final, which is pretty wild in itself. Last year, Florida won in 7. But only after Edmonton came all the way back from being down 3-0. Incredible series.
Just incredible. And this year, flip script, Oilers have home ice. Game 1 was Wednesday, June 4th, up in Edmonton.
And Edmonton, well, they wasted absolutely no time. Like 0 time.
Right. Leon Draisaitl scores just 66 seconds into the first period, gets the home crowd roaring immediately. And what's really notable there, as sources like ESPN pointed out, Draisaitl didn't score at all in last year's final series.
Euro goals last year. Wow. So getting one just over a minute in this time. That's
definitely a statement. But, you know, Florida didn't exactly fold. Sam Bennett tied it up pretty quickly after that.
He did, off a Carter Verhaeghe shot, I think. Yeah. Hit some right back level.
And then things got, well, really interesting. Edmonton challenged the goal right away.
Yeah, for goaltender interference. Trying to get it called back. High stakes challenge that early.
Right. And the Athletic had some good detail on this. The call stood. Officials basically said an Oilers player actually pushed Bennett into Skinner. So not only did the goal count, but it kind of set this physical, chaotic tone, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And that failed challenge, it hurt them immediately. Big time.
Huge penalty. Florida gets a power play because of the failed challenge.
And Brad Marchand makes them pay. Cross-ice pass. Goal. Florida suddenly up 2-1.
And get this, those 2 Florida goals, the Bennett equalizer and the Marchand go-ahead, they came just 1 minute and 41 seconds apart.
Talk about a momentum swing. From down 1-0 to up 2-1, just like that, all stemming from that challenge.
Crazy start. And the rest of the first, it was a bit of a special teams battle, wasn't it?
Yeah, sources mentioned a key moment, an Oilers 4-on-3 power play.
Ooh, dangerous. Especially with McDavid out there. Reports said he was circling the zone like sharks.
But the Panthers' PK held strong. Kept them off the board there, which felt pretty significant early on. Big kill.
Huge kill. Okay, so moving into the second period. Florida extends the lead.
Right, early second. Sam Bennett again, his second of the game.
This one on a breakaway, right? Nice pass from Nate Schmidt, I think. Makes it 3-1 Florida. And the sources really highlighted this one. It was Bennett's 12th playoff goal overall.
12 goals already. He's leading the playoffs then.
Yep, leading goal scorer. And even crazier, that goal tied an NHL record 11 road goals in a single postseason.
11 goals on the road in one playoff run. That's insane production away from home ice.
Just wild impact. But again, Edmonton responds. They didn't go away.
No. Viktor Arvidsson scores just 77 seconds after Bennett. Pulls Edmonton back within 1-3-2. Game on again.
Definitely game on. And throughout that second period, both goalies really had to step up.
For sure. Sources mentioned both Bobrovsky and Skinner making some really key saves.
Yeah. USA Today pointed out Bobrovsky made 11 high-danger saves in the game. That's a lot.
11 high-danger stops, yeah. And Skinner had some big ones too, right? That lunging save on Louis Sterinen.
Exactly. Both guys were clearly dialed in, keeping things tight despite the goals.
But then the third period. Oh, wow. The whole script just flipped, didn't it?
It completely flipped. Edmonton just dominated. They outshot Florida 14-2 in the third.
14-2. That's staggering. Just relentless pressure. You could feel it building.
You really could. And all that pressure, it had to pay off eventually.
And it did. Mattias Ekholm ties the game 3-3.
Yep. Shot assisted by McDavid. Reports said that pass somehow slid under like multiple Panthers sticks. Just found Ekholm.
Perfect pass. And that was Ekholm's first goal of these playoffs, right? He'd just come back from injury.
Exactly. Only his second game back. Talk about stepping up in a massive moment. Huge goal for him and the team.
Absolutely. So after that furious third period push, Edmonton erases that 2-goal deficit. And we're heading to overtime.
Yep. Sudden death. Game 1. Couldn't ask for much more drama.
Overtime kicks off.
Yeah.
And Both teams had looks early, didn't they?
They did. Sources mentioned Evan Bouchard with a nice move for Edmonton. Kasperi Kapanen actually hit the post.
The post. So close. And Bobrovsky had to stay sharp. Stop Frederick.
And then stopped Ekholm twice midway through OT. Bobrovsky was definitely busy, keeping Florida alive there. Felt like either team could end it any second.
It really did. And then, the critical moment. The penalty.
Yeah, with just under 2 minutes left, 1.43 to be exact, Tomas Nosek for Florida.
Delay of game, right.
Yep.
Cleared the puck over the glass from his own zone. Tough penalty to take that late in OT.
Oh, absolutely brutal. Puts Edmonton on the power play with the game on the line.
And the Oilers? They didn't miss this time?
Nope. McDavid sets up Draisaitl, his second goal of the game. Bang. Game over. 19.29 of overtime. Oilers win game 1.
Wow. And you know what's interesting there? That was actually Edmonton's first power play goal of the entire game.
Right. They were 0 for 4 before that. But they got the 5th chance, the biggest chance, and the big guns delivered. McDavid to Draisaitl. Clutch.
Textbook. So afterwards, you heard from Panthers coach Paul Maurice about that Nosek penalty.
Yeah. Reports said he really stood by his player. Wouldn't blame him. Said something like, reminded Nosek how important his line was earlier in the playoffs, and basically, we're not even here without Tomas.
That's good coaching. Showing support in a really tough spot for the player.
Definitely. And on the Oilers side, Ekholm talked about the comeback, being down 2 goals.
What was the message?
Pretty simple, apparently. He just said, just keep going. Said the team usually shows up when their back's against the wall. Speaks to their belief, I think.
Yeah, that resilience they showed last year, too. Okay, so game 1 is done. Oilers take it in OT. What does this all mean? Let's get into some of those key takeaways from the sources. What did this opener really tell us?
Right, beyond just the score. And one of the big things, that Panthers record, it finally fell. Under Paul Maurice, they were 31-0 in the playoffs when leading after 2 periods. 31 and...
That's an insane stat. Undefeated when leading after 2. Until now.
Until now. It's 31-1. And I think connecting that, it just highlights how unusual that loss was for them in that specific situation. And it really underscores how significant that Oilers' third period push and comeback actually was. It took something special to break that streak.
No kidding. And then there's Draisaitl, obviously the hero with 2 goals, including the OT winner.
Huge night for him, especially like we said, after not scoring at all last final. Sources like NHL.com jumped on this. His 3rd OT winner just in these 2025 playoffs. That ties an NHL record.
3rd OT goal this run. Who else is on that list?
It's pretty elite company. Maurice Richard, Corey Perry, and Matthew Tkachuk, actually.
Wow, okay. And he hit a milestone too, right? 50 playoff goals.
Yep, reached 50 career playoff goals in just 91 games. CBS Sports noted that's the 2nd fastest among active players. Only Nathan MacKinnon did it faster.
So just elite production, elite clutch performance. Massive contrast to last year's final for him.
Absolutely. Now, flicking back to Florida, The Athletic raised some questions about one of their key defense pairings.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
Ekblad and Forsling. Based on the underlying numbers like expected goals and goal differential at 5-on-5, they apparently struggled a bit in game 1. And interestingly, it wasn't even primarily against McDavid and Draisaitl. That matchup mostly went to Montour and Mikkola.
Okay. So that's definitely something to watch, right? Mm-hmm. Does that pairing bounce back in game 2, or is that maybe a weak spot Edmonton can try to exploit more?
Exactly. It raises that question. Could be a key adjustment point moving forward.
And we have to talk about Sam Bennett again. 2 goals, obviously huge.
Yeah. And beyond the goals, sources were pointing out, he's got 18 points now, tied for 4th in playoff scoring. He's legitimately in the Conn Smythe conversation for playoff MVP.
He really is playing that well. And he's a free agent after this season, isn't he?
Yep, penned in UFA. So as Covers mentioned, this kind of performance on the stage, it's definitely boosting his stock for what they called a potential big payday. Good timing for him.
You'd say that. Then there's the goaltending. Both guys were busy, made big saves.
For sure. And there was this interesting comparison of Stuart Skinner this year versus last year. ESPN reported he felt different, less overwhelmed, no more googly eyes looking at the cup like last year, apparently. Handled the pressure well, even right after that failed challenge.
Yeah, seemed composed. And Bobrovsky, despite the loss, still put up strong numbers, made those key saves we talked about.
Definitely. One analyst predicted before the game, Bobrovsky would face around 30 shots and hit the over on his saves prop bet, which he did. He was busy.
Okay, and one last big takeaway maybe. Something about the Oilers' overall game this year.
Yeah, multiple sources brought this up. This isn't quite the same Oilers team as last year. Their structure, particularly defensively, seems much tighter. There were quotes even from the Dallas coach earlier in the playoffs saying these Oilers play a more playoff-friendly, structured defensive game now.
So it's not just the high-flying offense anymore. They've added this defensive responsibility.
Seems like it. And you combine that improved structure with the comeback ability they showed in Game 1 that makes them potentially even more dangerous this time around.
Okay, that's a really key point. So looking ahead, Sam Bennett said it himself right. It's going to be a long series.
Yeah, he called Game 1 tight and said it could have went either way. Feels accurate.
So adjustments for Game 2.
Yeah.
What are we thinking? Florida probably wants more puck control.
Seems likely. Paul Maurice mentioned needing to cut down turnovers, learn from letting that lead slip away.
And Edmonton, they have to love how they finished the game, right? That third period and OT dominance.
Absolutely. They'll want to build on that defensive performance, especially limiting Florida to just, 8 shots combined in the third and OT. They'll take that all day.
Yeah, 24-8 shot advantage for Edmonton in those final 40 minutes. Huge momentum carrier if they can maintain that level.
Definitely. So Game 2 is set for Friday, June 6th, back in Edmonton again, 8 p.m. Eastern on TNT and True TV. Lots to watch for.
For sure. So this deep dive, looking at all these sources, it gives you, the listener, a pretty good framework, right? Key stats, moments, storylines.
Yeah, but like you always say, the beauty is watching it actually play out, how these narratives evolve on the ice. So a final thought maybe, if you watched Game 1, how did hearing all this maybe change how you saw it? Or add some layers? And if you didn't watch, now that you've got this context from the sources, what specific matchup or trend are you going to be looking for in Game 2? Something to chew on before the puck drops again.